Water is essential to overcoming hunger, poverty, and disease. Yet at a time in history when we can explore the surface of distant planets, here on Earth, more than 1.5 billion people still lack access to clean, safe drinking water. Countless women and girls in developing countries walk many miles each day to fetch water for their families' drinking, washing, and cooking needs. Water often polluted by livestock, infested with parasites, and contaminated with bacteria like cholera, typhoid, and dysentery. 5 million people, mostly children, die each year from waterborne disease, double the number of deaths caused by AIDS. Without safe drinking water, health, hope, progress, and dignity are impossible. Faced with this reality in almost every East African village we visit, in 2006, Global Resource Alliance, GRA, started raising funds to drill boreholes and install pumps in some of the areas most affected. After nearly a year of frustrating delays, we succeeded in drilling one borehole in Kinesi, a poor rural village in the Mara region of Tanzania. With the closest drilling contractor hundreds of kilometers away, the cost of the borehole was high, about $15,000. Fitting the well with the solar pump took another year, and another $15,000. We knew there had to be a better way. Encouraged by the availability of expert volunteer guidance, we decided that buying our own equipment and hiring a crew of experienced Tanzanian drillers was the most cost-effective and timely approach. By mid-2008, GRA had raised enough money to take the plunge. We purchased a new top-quality U.S. drilling rig, a powerful Belgian air compressor, and used vehicles from the UK and Japan to transport the equipment and crew. After numerous delays and unexpected expenses, GRA's Maji Mengi project, which in the local Swahili dialect means abundant water, finally got underway in January 2009. The first borehole was drilled in Kabuyi village, at a site selected in the previous year by volunteer geohydrologist Paul Power. It proved to be a source of abundant, high-quality water that will meet all the drinking water needs of area residents and the nearby government secondary school. Paul van Beers, Dutch geohydrologist and developer of the AfriPump hand pump, flew in to provide free training for the Global Resource Alliance crew, local water engineers, and members of the United Nations Development Program on the installation and use of the Dutch-made hand pumps we'll be installing at the rate of about 3 per month. As a consultant to the UN, the World Bank, and major international development NGOs, and having supervised the drilling of over 1,000 wells throughout Africa, Paul is one of the world's leading authorities on boreholes, hand pumps, and rural water supply in Africa.
So it's very simple.
In early February, GRA's volunteer water wizard, Paul Power, returned once again to Tanzania and began locating more drill sites in the rural districts surrounding Musoma. One of these sites, in Utegi village, was the location of our second borehole attempt. Residents had been drawing water from a chocolate-brown river that runs through town, a known source of the village's frequent outbreaks of cholera. After pounding through 100 feet of bedrock, we began to encounter small amounts of water. At about 200 feet down, we hit the mother lode, a river of excellent quality water under enormous pressure that rose to about 10 feet from the surface. There was so much water that our drill bit was nearly trapped in the hole by rocks washed down from above. With over 4 decades of experience, Paul Power's knowledge of what has been called primary water is perhaps unparalleled. The theory was developed in the 1950s and 60s by Paul's mentor, the late Austrian mining engineer and geologist Stefan Ries, though it was first formulated in the late 1890s by Finnish Nobel Prize nominee, physicist, and Arctic explorer Adolf Erik Nordenskjöld. Also known as juvinile, earth-generated, magmatic, plutonic, or fissure water, primary water is said to be generated deep within the earth and forced upwards through fissures and fractures in the earth's crust under great pressure. Primary water wells in the Middle East have been a continuous source of fresh, clean water since biblical times. Our third borehole attempt was located at a primary school in rural Kamaswa village. The school and local residents have been drawing their water from a nearby pond. The water is murky, polluted, foul-smelling, and the source of many diseases in the area. The situation was so bad that it was becoming harder and harder for the government to find teachers willing to brave the village's dire water situation. As at Kabuyi and Utegi, a generous supply of clean, fresh water, protected by many meters of overlaying bedrock, was struck at a depth of about 140 feet and rose to within 22 feet of the surface, to the jubilation of school officials, students, and local residents. The standard cost of a borehole and hand pump in the Mara region runs $16,000 to $20,000, with no guarantee of success. Few villages are able to raise that much money or willing to take that big a risk. Because of GRA's nonprofit status, highly efficient equipment, and generous donor support, we are able to provide the same service to villages for less than $6,000 per well and guarantee success, or the village pays nothing. Given this opportunity, the demand for life-saving wells has been high. Each community organizes its own water users association and determines its own policies regarding usage, security, and maintenance. With an actual cost of about $10,000 per well and a goal of 36 wells per year, GRA needs to raise $144,000 each year to keep the Mengi project going without interruption. An investment of only $20 per person provides a lifetime of clean, safe water, less than the amount a family spends in 3 months for charcoal to boil contaminated water. When GRA drilled a successful borehole in the village of Masarura, an 80-year-old blind woman heard the news and couldn't believe that water had come from the dry ground. She pleaded with her grandson to take her to the well site, where she was allowed to experience the truth for herself. If you'd like more information about Global Resource Alliance, please visit our website at www.globalresourcealliance.org. Together, we can help impoverished communities in rural East Africa achieve a life of greater hope, joy, and abundance.